Good morning, everyone. Just checking if my voice is clear to everyone. If you can just type in the chat. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Mariam Majid. I am the acting head of the Digital Transformation and Project Management Center at the BIBF. On behalf of the BIBF team, I would like to welcome you all to today's Tech Talk session. So as a digital transformation center at the BIBF, we aim to enable talents to stay ahead of the digital curve. And we do that through our different offerings, whether through our training workshops, professional qualifications, and our series of webinars and free talks represented by the Tech Talk sessions. And in the Tech Talk sessions, we bring in experts from the field, practitioners who can share their experience and shed light on the important technology trends and how are they applied in real life. So I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Ms. Renata Louisi. Ms. Renata has more than 17 years of experience in strategy, digital transformation, and innovation. And we will cover a session under the title of Rethinking the User Experience in the Era of the Metaverse. We will have a talk of around 1 hour, and then we will open the floor for Q&A and discussion questions. So welcome all, and over to you, Renata.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Welcome, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Yes? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Can you? Yeah, perfect. Okay, so thank you, Mariam, for the introduction. Just a bit about me. As Mariam said, 17, 18 years of experience across 15 countries, working with Fortune 500 companies. Last year, I was awarded the #2 customer experience influencer worldwide. And our company, which I founded, and I'm the CEO, which is Axis Partners, is the most prestigious CX innovation metaverse agency in the region, boutique agency in the region, based on both news, recent article. And I basically am a professor as well for IE Business School and for the laboratory that incubates startups. And that's how I started working in the world of the metaverse, NFTs, etc. Because a lot of startups 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, started to create businesses and projects, which are the ones that are up and running nowadays. So this is me. What we're going to do today is, in 1 hour, I'm going to take you through a journey. And I'm going to take you through very, very basic topics on the metaverse. The metaverse is composed by different elements, and those key elements are the blockchain. We're going to talk a bit the blockchain and understand a bit how it works. Cryptocurrencies, what they are, what do you use them for, NFTs, the metaverse itself, and then to give you a few tips on how you can enter the metaverse. So this is what we are going to cover in the next 1 hour, and I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. The video I'm going to show you now is a video I love, and I'm going to show it because it really shows context on how important it is to explore new technologies and how these new technologies are actually going to change the world, is going to change the way we live. So enjoy. Sorry, can you hear the video? The video has actual sound.
No.
No. Ah, okay, sorry, just 1 second. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. And I am going to share it. Okay, let's try now.
Having cars
Can you
or
hear
computers.
sound?
Yes.
Learn
Yeah?
and think.
Okay, let's start again. Sorry about that.
On time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business models. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
So this video says a couple of key things. One, which is the value of humans. And in the value of humans is the value of empathize. And this is where the user experience becomes a key, because the user experience is built on empathy. And the whole revolution of creating an ecosystem that is based on humans and is based on empathy, this is what Web3 is doing. The whole system is turning around. It's not a company communicating to a customer. It's the customer telling the company, what do I want? And I want to be part of it. So if we look at 22 years ago, this was in the Daily Mail. Actually, they were saying the internet is just a passing fad. And imagine 22 years ago, this is what the internet was considered. Nowadays, if you are not in the internet, your company doesn't exist. So it's very important to understand the point in history that we are in now. We are living another revolution similar to the one we lived 22 years ago, in which we completely transformed the way we communicate and do business. So if we look at what happened 22 years ago, is what we call the Web 1. So in the Web 1, it was static information. It's when we started seeing these websites. And basically Web 1 is We only consume information from the websites, and the companies or whoever creates the website creates the information they want. User experience here was almost non-existent, okay? Then when we move into Web 2 is when we start interacting. So then we see, for example, the growth of Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram. We start seeing interaction. Still, the company is in control of what's the content. Your data is in their hands. Your data is being used by the company to basically profit. The fundamental change of between Web 2 and Web 3 is that turnaround in which there's decentralization and the control is going to the customer, not to the company, okay? So the way we do user experience is completely different now. In Web 2, there were some elements of involving customers and listening to their feedback. However, in Web 3, the customers are saying, I want to be part of the creation of that product. I want to be part of this. So thanks to the Web 3 in this movement, then we are seeing a complete transparency and decentralization in the way we do business, in the way we do banking, in the way we do education, in the way we do anything is going to be based on these elements. However, there are companies, metaverses actually, that are not Web 3 inspired, they're Web 2. And I'm going to go into this point now. And at the end of the presentation, we're going to give some time for Q&A. If you have some questions, just take some notes and I will clarify at the end. So if we look at how that evolution happened from Web 1 into Web 3, right? Web 1, the websites were super clunky. It was not user-friendly. It was super complicated to use. This is the same that is happening now with the metaverse, right? It's not that user-friendly. People don't know how to actually access the metaverse. How do I create a wallet? It's so complicated. I don't understand. This is what happened 22 years ago with the internet. And if innovation was actually predictable, it would have been much easier to manage it. But unfortunately, this is not the way it's happening. And actually, when there's a big evolution in technology, there's a jump in technology. However, there's not a jump in the adaptation into the user experience, right? So the technology comes first and then the user experience follows. And this is how it historically has happened. So what's starting to happen now is that since the industry of the metaverse is growing and there's more money being pumped into it, there's more people working on this, then the component of user experience is starting to really have an impact and shape the industry in a way that is easier to use, and all these technologies are a bit more accessible. So we're going into the first of those key elements of what is a metaverse, right? So the metaverse runs in the blockchain. So let's see what the blockchain is and how it works. So for this, I would like to use a video. For those that are not familiar with Christmas, this is the way it works for Christmas, right? Kids write a letter to Santa, and they ask at the end of the year the gifts that they want from Santa in December. And Santa comes on the 25th of December with the gifts. So the way it technically works is that you write this letter, and if you were a good boy or a good girl, you will receive your gift from Santa. However, the process is as follows. You give the letter to your parents give it to Santa. Thanks to the blockchain, now this process is going to work in a different way.
Let me tell you a short story about a little fellow called Jacob. Since he could remember, Jacob always wanted to get a blue cat, but his parents were always finding ways to not get it for him. So, one Christmas, he figured out a way to finally get his dream pet. He would send his wish to Santa. Oh, how excited he was when he wrote the letter. But Jacob was too young to take the letter to the post office by himself, so the next morning, he had to ask his dad to do it for him. You could say that his dad was the middleman between Jacob and Santa. He never imagined that on his way to the post office, his dad would open the letter, read it, and replace the blue cat on the list with a brand new pair of socks. The letter was posted to the North Pole, to Santa and the elves. When they received it, they started working right away, making Jacob's gift. So that year, Jacob received an adorable pair of socks. But next Christmas, Jacob decided to use the blockchain. Jacob wrote exactly the same letter, but instead of giving it to his mum or dad to deliver, he directly uploaded it to the North Pole blockchain. The North Pole blockchain is made up of a lot of computers connected to one another through the internet that all store a copy of everyone's Christmas list. The network is being monitored at the same time by all the elves, Santa himself, and even people like Jacob's parents. Every time a new letter is received, it is saved onto every individual computer, so everyone has the exact same copy. As the blockchain is an open network, everyone can see all the letters, even though it's impossible to know to whom each one belongs to. But when Jacob's parents saw that there was a letter asking for a blue cat, it wasn't hard for them to know that it was from Jacob. So, once again, they changed it, this time for a cookbook. But as every other node had a copy of Jacob's real letter, the change was spotted, and the computer trying to make the change was cut off from the network, meaning Jacob's real letter remained unchanged. So, guess what Jacob received that year for Christmas?
So what this video says very well is those elements of transparency and how the blockchain is basically a combination of different ledgers of information. And since all of that is connected, that is what guarantees the accuracy of the information that you are uploading into the blockchain. Anything that you upload in the blockchain can be traced in the past, and it can be traced where it is now and how it has moved. So that's the beauty of the blockchain, the transparency, and also how it is part of a network of information that is revalidated through other different nodes of information. So if we think about so just think about this concept, right? Now, a lot of the middleman is being removed, and also there's a lot of transparency and decentralization in the way we manage information. Just think about what's going to happen to banks, for example, which is already happening with decentralized finance, and we're going to enter into this point. So imagine what's going to happen with the way we share information and the way we interact in business. Lawyers, for example, that act as an intermediary in a negotiation between two parties. Those entities will start changing the role they play in business, or they have to change the role they play in business because of this technology. So I'm going to play another video that will show a bit more actual applications on how you can utilize the blockchain in different elements of business.
Many people think of blockchain as the technology that powers Bitcoin. While this was its original purpose, blockchain is capable of so much more. Despite the sound of the word, there's not just one blockchain. Blockchain is shorthand for a whole suite of distributed ledger technologies that can be programmed to record and track anything of value, from financial transactions to medical records or even land titles. You might be thinking, we already have processes in place to track data. What's so special about blockchain? Let's break down the reasons why blockchain technology stands to revolutionize the way we interact with each other. Reason number one, the way it tracks and stores data. Blockchain stores information in batches called blocks that are linked together in a chronological fashion to form a continuous line, metaphorically, a chain of blocks. If you make a change to the information recorded in a particular block, you don't rewrite it. Instead, the change is stored in a new block showing that X changed to Y at a particular date and time. Sound familiar? That's because blockchain is based on the centuries-old method of the general financial ledger. It's a non-destructive way to track data changes over time. Here's one example. Let's say there was a dispute between Anne and her brother Steve over who owns a piece of land that's been in the family for years. Because blockchain technology uses the ledger method, there is an entry in the ledger showing that Adam first owned the property in 1900. When Adam sold the property to Dave in 1930, a new entry was made in the ledger, and so on. Every change of ownership of this property is represented by a new entry in the ledger, right up until Anne bought it from their father in 2007. Anne is the current owner, and we can see that history in the ledger. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Unlike the age-old ledger method, originally a book, then a database file stored on a single system, blockchain was designed to be decentralized and distributed across a large network of computers. This decentralizing of information reduces the ability for data tampering and brings us to the second factor that makes blockchain unique. It creates trust in the data. Before a block can be added to the chain, a few things have to happen. First, a cryptographic puzzle must be solved, thus creating the block. The computer that solves the puzzle shares the solution to all of the other computers on the network. This is called proof of work. The network will then verify this proof of work, and if correct, the block will be added to the chain. The combination of these complex math puzzles and verification by many computers ensures that we can trust each and every block on the chain. Because the network does the trust building for us, we now have the opportunity to interact directly with our data in real time. And that brings us to the third reason blockchain technology is such a game changer. No more intermediaries. Currently, when doing business with one another, we don't show the other person our financial or business records. Instead, we rely on trusted intermediaries, such as a bank or lawyer, to view our records and keep that information confidential. These intermediaries build trust between the parties and are able to verify, for example, that, yes, Anne is the rightful owner of this land. This approach limits exposure and risk, but also adds another step to the exchange, which means more time and money spent. If Anne's land title information was stored in a blockchain, she could cut out the middleman, her lawyer, who would ordinarily confirm her information with Steve. As we now know, all blocks added to the chain have been verified to be true and can't be tampered with, so Anne can simply show Steve her land title information secured on the blockchain. Anne would save considerable time and money by cutting out the middleman. This type of trusted peer-to-peer interaction with our data can revolutionize the way we access, verify, and transact with one another. And because
This was just to show you how the three key elements that, thanks to the blockchain, are being transformed in the world of business. And the second element that I want to talk to you is cryptocurrency. So the cryptocurrency runs in the blockchain. Not all the blockchains are the same, and I'm going to explain a bit more. So the cryptocurrency historically was born around 15 years ago to democratize finance. So basically what the creators of, for example, Bitcoin said is, right now our money is in the bank and we have no visibility of what's happening with that money. What if we create a system in which we actually can track where the money is as blocks of information, and that data can be traced and can be monitored. So if it's moved or invested into another place, I know where it is at all times. So that was the beginning of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies run in a blockchain, and each blockchain has different properties. For example, if you look at here, I have mentioned different type of blockchains. So here you have, for example, Bitcoin, you have Ethereum. Ethereum and Bitcoin have been the ones that have the most traction historically. However, there are new cryptocurrencies and there are new blockchains that are growing. To give you an example, Bitcoin, you will never find an NFT or a metaverse that is built on Bitcoin, because the way that blockchain has been built doesn't allow smart contracts. It doesn't allow your block to carry any other information that is not financial. It has just a value. So it's tokenized. It's only a token. If you look at Ethereum, for example, the currency of Ethereum is not called Ethereum, it's called ETH, it's ETH. So each of those blockchains, they have a currency that is pegged to their blockchain and it runs in that blockchain. The same happens with the metaverses. Each metaverse runs in a blockchain. Before the metaverse is built, you have to select which blockchain you're going to run your metaverse into, where you're going to build it. So the way to look at it is, imagine that you're selecting what soil you're going to use in where you're going to build your house. That's your blockchain. And forever, you will have to use a blockchain. You can't change it. So if you see, for example, Solana Solana operates similarly to Ethereum. Solana is an evolution of Ethereum. It was created as a copy of Ethereum. Every single blockchain code is open and it can be copied. So that's why you have so many different types of cryptocurrencies and so many different types of blockchains, because it can be copied and pasted and improved. So there are millions and millions of them, which doesn't mean that all of them are going to be successful, but there are millions and millions of cryptocurrencies and blockchains at the moment. Most of them, based on my view, are not going to be successful in the future, which is the same that happened in the internet. So many things, businesses, etc., networks were tested in the internet and they were not successful. And only the ones that were well built with a purpose behind, with the right user experience, those were the ones that actually conquered the market. So this is a very, very quick view on cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies hold value, and they basically mean money. And a lot of companies right now are transacting with cryptocurrencies, and the only way for you to purchase and access the metaverse is through cryptocurrencies as well, and using a blockchain. These are some developments that are happening here in the region. They are all related to UAE because it's the country that is focusing the most into the blockchain, into the metaverse. So DAMAC, for example, they have announced that they will accept payments, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum, to buy properties. If you see Majid Al-Futtaim, for example, they have made an agreement with Binance to accept cryptocurrencies in their malls. There are stores here in Dubai, for example, that they have introduced already cryptocurrency payment, and people are paying in cryptocurrencies. There are hotels here in Dubai that are accepting cryptocurrencies. And you can even hear people in the street saying, why can I not pay with cryptocurrency? Can you please accept it? So there's a huge growth in suppliers that are providing now the service in which you can transform your cryptocurrency into fiat currency and vice versa. So fiat currency is the normal currency that we use, dollars, dirhams. And if you want to transform that into cryptocurrency, and you're transforming fiat into cryptocurrency, and for that you need cryptocurrency exchanges. There are different types of cryptocurrency exchanges. Binance is so far the biggest one. However, they are not regulated. There are cryptocurrency exchanges that are regulated by the law of some countries. For example, here in UAE, there are different maximum two or three that have been approved by the government, and they are regulated by the government. So yes, even if the cryptocurrencies were created with the concept of decentralization, now there is a huge growth on new policies and procedures to work on anti-money laundering and to work in the protection of the digital assets that are now on the rise. And that's why there are some financial exchanges that are based on cryptocurrency, but they are regulated by the government. So let's talk a bit about the metaverse. So we have talked about the blockchain. We know how it runs. We know the key things that are different thanks to the blockchain. We're removing the middleman. We're making processes faster. We're making them transparent. We can trace anything. We have that as a base. Then we have different cryptocurrencies that can be built in different blockchains. And now let's talk about the metaverse, right? It's such a trendy word right now. Everyone talks about the metaverse. So the first thing I want to clarify is the metaverse only one thing, or are there different metaverses? So I like to call it this way. The metaverse with M in capitals, the metaverse, is the future metaverse that is going to be completely integrated, right? When people say that the metaverse is still being built, it's because the connections between the different small metaverses that currently exist, they are going to be created and they're going to be unified. So it's like to say you're creating APIs that connect information between them. So the information can flow back and forth between those metaverses. So imagine your metaverse being an isolated system right now. To give you an example, Decentraland. Decentraland is one metaverse. Roblox is another metaverse. Sandbox is another metaverse. And there are many, many metaverses, okay? these three that I'm showing you here, they are decentralized metaverses. That means that if you buy a plot in there, or if you participate in any financial, commercial, or gaming activity in those metaverses, it means that you are the complete owner of your information, and you have full control of whatever you see, on whatever you interact with, or whatever you transact with. So that is the concept of a decentralized metaverse. And you have the centralized metaverse, like, for example, what Facebook is launching, Meta. And that is going to be a centralized metaverse. The information of what you see is going to be controlled by the company, not by you. So that's the main difference. Then in the future, going back to the concept of interoperability, the connection between all of those metaverses is going to exist. Why is this necessary? Because if I have a plot of land, for example, in the central land, and I have my avatar in the central land, and I have bought a Gucci outfit in the central land, that, by the way, people are buying Gucci outfits and they are investing in fashion in the metaverse, and that is growing at light speed. Is exponential, the growth we are seeing in this world. And why is this? Because if we go back to the human dynamics and human behavior, the reason why people wear brands, and the reason why people want to show they're wearing a specific brand, is because they are making a statement. They are associating themselves with something. So that's the reason why now it's been so successful to sell fashion in the metaverse, because your avatar is a representation of you in a digital world. And as the same as you make a statement in the physical world, you will want to do the same in this digital world. And this is key to understand for the user experience design. We are still humans. Even if this is a super advanced technology, this doesn't mean that this is not going to be designed for humans. So I always say that the metaverse is, like any technology, from humans for humans. And that is the fundamental element that we need to understand when we talk about creating any business model and any commercial element that is going to transact and create profit in the metaverse, especially if you're designing a space or you want to invite people to be part of the metaverse. Another important element is to differentiate what is Web3 and what is the metaverse. Web3 and metaverse is not the same. Web3 is the whole movement, as I explained at the beginning. It's a movement in which there's a fundamental shift of control. The control is in the customer, not in the company, right? And this is powered by decentralization. And why is this possible? Because of the blockchain. So this is a decentralized metaverse. For example, decentralized is a decentralized metaverse and is inspired by Web3, okay? Then there are other metaverses, like metaverses that are being created for companies. Like if you want to create an internal metaverse to interact with your employees, that can be a Web2 metaverse. That is not a decentralized metaverse. It's a centralized metaverse that is controlled by the company. That is also possible to do. You can control the contents and you can control whatever elements of engagement you are creating into that metaverse. So is it true that these elements, the metaverse, are going to transform the way we live? Yes. Is it true that this is going to completely replace our physical life? No. And actually, we are going to get into NFTs. The NFTs that are most successful are the NFTs that provide phygital experiences. Phygital means a combination of physical and digital. So anything that has to do with the metaverse and that has to do with NFTs or any element of the metaverse, if it has a component of physical with digital, then it's going to be successful. And that's what we have been seeing, even with the younger generations, that we thought they were going to be fully digital. They are not. They like the human element and the engagement. And that's why the user experience is so critical for the design of any of these business models to make it profitable and to make it sustainable in the long term. These are some metaverse happenings. For example, here in UAE, Emirates has virtual tours. You can shop in the duty free, and then whatever you shop in the duty free you shop in the metaverse. But then when you go into the plane, it gets delivered to you. So still, there's a combination of a physical element. You have received your items, but you purchased in the metaverse. So there's this phygital part of the experience. For example, D Labs by Damac, they are using these to actually showcase some of their luxury properties. And there is a component as well of including the customers in the design as well. Has a bit of a spin of Web3 into this element into this metaversal experience. Digital twins, this is something that is becoming super popular. For example, in medicine, now the doctors can be trained in the metaverse. So far, the doctors that we have access to have been trained by using real humans or a dead body where they can explore how the body works and they learn how to do surgeries. Thanks to digital twins, they are creating digital twins of a human. And thanks to that, then in the metaverse, you can perform surgeries without the risk of damaging someone because you're learning. And now even kids are performing experiments in the metaverse, and they are learning things that would have been dangerous for us because something can explode in your face if it does a chemical reaction. Now, kids can experiment that thanks to the metaverse. So these are called digital twins. Even factories, for example, are being duplicated into the metaverse, and that's called a digital twin. And you can control the health and the performance of a full factory thanks to a digital twin creation in the metaverse of your company. Let me show you an example on how the metaverse is. The video that you're seeing, this is Nike Land. So Nike has created their own metaverse in Roblox, okay? So if you go back to these metaverses that we say here, you can buy a plot. So Nike, what they have done is that they bought a plot in Roblox, right? And this is what they have done with their plot. So it is called Nike Land, and they basically created experiences in which you can run, you can do sports. This is the shop, for example. There is the e-commerce aspect of the metaverse is growing super fast. It's basically e-commerce, but it's more interactive and it's immersive. And this is what we are seeing the avatar doing. So this avatar is basically shopping items for the game. And in some cases, you can buy those items in the metaverse. You pay for them in the digital world, but also you will receive the physical item as well. When we do our full trainings with workshops, we actually all enter in the metaverse. So now we're just showing you a video for you to have an idea on how it looks. Another thing that is changing is the way it looks now, it looks like a game, but there are huge improvements that are happening now that are actually copying the way we are and the way we look. It doesn't look like a game. That's why there's a perception of, oh, the metaverse is just a game. Well, it's not. It's actually a world, but it's being now improved again, user experience based on the user feedback. And the users are now being part of the creation of these metaverses. They are becoming much more real. This is HSBC. HSBC has launched their metaverse as well. They bought a plot in the sandbox, and they have launched their metaverse. So they are basically providing services in the metaverse. So if you are a customer, you can go there and visit the branch, and you go and basically resolve issues in there. You also have space to entertain and to have some fun, entertainment, etc. But also you are learning about the brand and how to interact with the bank. So one important element here, especially for the new generations, is the way we interact and engage with brands now is going to completely change, because the element of gamification, of me being rewarded by me interacting with your brand. So what are you going to give me? And in the future, your kids are going to ask you, how come you spend money on things that you didn't own forever? Because thanks to the blockchain and the metaverse, now everything you buy online in the metaverse, you will own, and it's your full property forever. So it is an investment. It is not only expenditure, it is an investment. So let's talk about what does this mean in terms of money, in terms of the industry. So In terms of e-commerce, if we see how fast they are evolving, e-commerce is one of the elements that is growing fastest, retail and e-commerce. And there's a potential of $2.6 trillion by 2030. The source of this is a McKinsey forecast that got published in June in 2022. The gaming market is also growing. And to give you an example, physical properties are being right now sold through games. So people have access and get targeted to buy properties through games. And this is actually being successful, even if it sounds crazy. The academic learning market is also booming because this is a great resource to upload information and to have the information readily available anytime you want from everywhere you want, and it's immersive. So imagine just the world of possibilities that is opening in terms of learning. Imagine how your kids are going to learn in the next 10 years. And by the way, by 2026, we are all expected to spend at least 1 hour a day in the metaverse. Advertising and marketing, the impact is expected to grow to 206 billion by 2030. So we are talking about a serious market opportunity here. By 2030, we are expecting the whole industry of the metaverse to reach $5 trillion in the elements of entertainment, gaming, virtual travel, shopping. Banking is as well an important element of this, especially with decentralized finance. Decentralized finance is basically anyone can invest in specific projects. For example, if I am launching a project in which I have designed a new mouse, and it's a new mouse, and I want to get funding to actually develop this, instead of going to the bank, now I am using decentralized finance. I put my project in a DAO, right, which is a decentralized organization, or in a platform that allows me to do this. I publish this and I say, okay, I'm looking for investors that want to finance this. And if you invest on this, you're going to be part owner of this project. There are thousands and thousands of projects that are being funded at the moment through this system. It is faster, it is transparent, and the investors are seeing return of their money much faster and at a higher rate that they would previously see with using other source of funding. These are elements that we are seeing, for example, well, in banking, I have mentioned different elements, training and education, for example. The virtual branches are now a great asset to train people on how to interact, what services they can access, etc. Research shows that 30% to 40% of the services that a bank offers are not even discovered by the customer simply because they don't know how to access them, or they don't know that they exist. So through these resources, we are actually going to be able to show these are the services that we provide. Customer service through augmented reality and virtual reality is much better to interact with someone. So instead of having a call center, you call and you speak to someone, or a chat, you're able to talk to someone virtually. So you have that element of empathy that is so, so important in customer service. And then the whole immersive experience, right? So instead of making banking simple and plain as we have it now, the future banking is going to be a gamified, fun banking that is going to be very visual and immersive. In terms of the workplace, it's going to completely change the way we work. In a few years, we are not going to do these Zoom calls or Teams calls. We're going to actually have a completely immersive experience, and you're going to be able to meet me in person in the metaverse, and you're going to be able to interact with me in a different way. The professional niche segment is going to have much more space to grow and to be exposed, which are small professionals rather than big companies. Immersive experiences again, and to foster creativity, because the way to interact now is endless. So the creativity is much easier to be expressed and to put into action. In terms of education, I have talked about this before, but the key here is gamified education. So the way our kids are going to be learning is going to be actually fun. It's going to be gamified, and they won't want to interact in the type of education that we saw and that how we learn with pen and paper and learning from one person. The education is going to be more based on videos, on interactions, and I learn by doing, because I can't do in a safe environment now in the metaverse. Shopping, as we have seen so far and I have mentioned, the immersive experience are creating an explosion in the way people shop, and not only digital assets, but also physical assets in the metaverse. There's another element very, very important in terms of e-commerce, is that if people don't interact with the brands and they don't create a real bond, it is demonstrated that they are not loyal. Less than 30% of consumers are actually loyal to a brand. The way we engage customers now and we keep them in our site is by engaging with them and creating a community. And this is the key change as well that is happening through the metaverse. Now we are able to create communities and to interact with people that we would have never met before. And the fact that you can play games with them and interact, then that is completely changing the way of shopping. You're actually going to learn about the brand. You're going to learn about the other people that are shopping on that brand. So you are going to feel part of something. You feel like you belong, which is one of the key elements of our human behavior. This is another example. This is the World Economic Forum of that they have created a metaverse. It's building. It's almost ready. It's going to launch soon, hopefully in 2023. And their intention is to create a worldwide community that is going to push forward the economic growth and innovation and other initiatives oriented to drive human progress. This is a video on a country that has been created in the metaverse. So even if it sounds crazy, countries are being created with their own currency, with their own way to interact, shop, engage, and live. So this is a video that shows how it actually works. So you get your passport. You actually get a passport because you're a citizen, right? And then once you are a citizen, then you will have access to engage and interact with these people, and they have their own rules, they have their own laws. So you don't obey to the laws of the country where you live, you obey to the laws of this country where you have decided to live. So this is to give you an idea on how scary it can be, the revolution that is happening in terms of human behavior, thanks to the availability of this new technology. So how do we enable this? One of the key enablers of the metaverse are NFTs. So let's start by the definition of what NFTs are. NFT means non-fungible token. So if I grab a $5 note and I grab another $5 note, we can exchange it. Nothing happens. You still have $5, I still have $5. Exactly the same, right? If you have $5 and I have $5, they will always be valued as $5. Okay? If I put two notes of $5, then I get $10. Easy. That is a fungible token. That's a fungible element. A cryptocurrency, for example, is a fungible element. If I give you one Bitcoin and you give me one Bitcoin, then we have exactly the same value, okay? So that is something that is fungible, it's exchangeable. NFTs are non-fungible. And the reason why they're non-fungible is because each NFT is different. It is called rarity. Each of them are unique. You cannot replace one NFT with another. And each of them have a different value pegged to it. And each of them have a different element of benefits, which is called utility, pegged to your NFT. So imagine you have your blockchain, and let's say that we selected Ethereum to create our NFT. So we have selected Ethereum, we use Ethereum to build it, we create our NFT, and our NFT is unique. There's nothing like that NFT is built on that element, and then I sell it for, let's say, 5 ETH, which is the Ethereum currency. So I sell it for 5 ETH, and that's the value it has. And I can sell it for that. I can trade it in a marketplace, and I am the full and rightful owner of that. Once I sell it to you and you own it, then you're going to be the full and rightful owner of that, even if you're purchasing art. So basically, the artist is selling you their IP. You own the IP. Even if they have created it, you own it. That is the fundamental change that is happening thanks to NFTs. Another use, for example, that NFTs have, which is great, is to act as a certificate of authenticity. So if you buy, for example, diamonds or high-value items, those items are now going to be certified through an NFT, and that NFT is going to be the certificate of authenticity, that that item is unique. Okay, let me give you some examples of the type of NFTs. So there are NFTs that are used for gaming. So it gives you access to play a game. Tickets, now you can access concerts by buying an NFT, and the NFT is a ticket to the concert. And that ticket to the concert maybe gives you access as well to go and meet the artist that is giving the concert, or maybe to go to a different gathering with the fans of the concert. Then if you want to buy an avatar in a game, you buy it as an NFT. So that's an NFT, and then you can trade it and you can sell it. So even if you're playing with that avatar, then you can exchange it. Then you have NFT fragments, which are different pieces that they built together. They form one NFT, but that is just at its beginning. Digital twin NFTs, I'll show you an example. Nike is doing it with the CryptoKicks. Soul-bound NFTs are basically NFTs that are pegged to a person. It's called soul-bounded because it's bound to your soul. So in the future, our identity is going to be an NFT, which is effectively an SBT, soul-bounded tokens. And for example, certificates of university, some universities are already giving certificates of completion of education as SBTs, which is a type of NFT. Then community-owned entertainment, so you have access to experiences thanks to that, NFTs as fine art, and NFTs as health. So basically, you have access to specific health benefits thanks to owning an NFT. These that you're seeing here are the CryptoKicks by Nike. So if you buy one of the CryptoKicks, this is in OpenSea. OpenSea is a marketplace for NFTs. OpenSea runs mainly in Ethereum, and the majority of the items that you will see here, they are priced in Ethereum. This is the symbol of Ethereum. So if you buy, for example, one CryptoKick, it will cost you around $1,400. Well, now the price of Ethereum is going down, it's fluctuating. But if you see here, when you buy your CryptoKick, you will also receive your physical shoe. So that's a phygital type of experience. Access to concerts. The NBA, for example, has now launched what is called the NBA Top Shot, in which you can own specific moments, historical moments of the NBA, when someone scored a specific point, if they won a game, when they were celebrating. All of those elements are being transformed into videos, and those videos are being minted into the blockchain. Minted means when you put it in the blockchain and you add a smart contract into that video. So even if you have the video, you can download it, you have the video, but you don't own it. If you own the NFT, you not only own that piece of video, but all the benefits that come together with it. What makes successful an NFT is the benefits that are pegged to it. Technologies are also gearing up to provide services for NFTs. So for example, Salesforce, they're now providing the service as part of their system to mint and sell NFTs by using Salesforce as a main engine in the backend. So this is happening, and this is where the world is moving towards. And now the main technology companies are also gearing up for that. These are some examples of things that are happening. For example, Coca-Cola, they are launching NFT collectibles, and recently they launched a surprise one that if you own an NFT with Coca-Cola, then they give you a surprise one, and it only activates, the NFT only activates if you give it as a gift to someone else. So there are very cool things that are happening thanks to NFTs. BMW is creating all of their factories as digital twins, and that's how they are improving their production and efficiency. And a lot of companies are now providing services through the metaverse and by using NFTs. So for example, if you buy an NFT that is like a gold NFT, you have access to a faster service, and you have access to a golden type of agents that can provide you a better service. So NFTs are basically tokens that unlock for you benefits. That's the way to see it. It's not only a JPEG or a piece of video that is there hanging around and it costs a lot of money. Yes, it is causing a lot of hype because the financial value is going up and people are using it as an investment, fast investment way to get fast return of investment. But if you take a step back and you really look at what is the benefit that this is bringing to me, and how is this going to really change the industry, the real element to look at here is that NFTs are unlocking a new way to interact with users, a new way to, for example, be part of a company. If you're familiar, for example, with La Liga, which is the football league of Spain, if you are a fan of La Liga, you can buy an NFT. And if you buy that NFT, you have rights to vote for what's the next football player that is going to be added into the team, or what's the color of the uniform. So you can be part now of decisions of companies thanks to the NFT technology and thanks to the blockchain. That is the main message that I would like you to take today from what NFTs are doing and how they are changing the world. Of course, different NFTs are minted in different blockchains, and each of them have different values, and they're fluctuating as the market fluctuates as well. And we're reaching the end of the presentation, and I want to leave you with some tips on how to start exploring this world. So I have given you today a few elements for you to understand the basics. These are purely the basics. This is just the tip of the iceberg on what's happening in the metaverse, and what these technologies are doing, and how they are disrupting the way we interact and engage, and how this is completely disrupting the user experience design and even the UI design as well, and how this is creating a whole new world and way for us to interact, engage, commercialize our items, etc. So how to enter Web3 and how to enter the metaverse. The first thing I always say, take a step back and think about what you want to achieve. Forget about the hype. Forget about everything that other companies are saying. What do you want to achieve as a company? What is your company strategy? Once you define your company strategy, then you need to define something similar to an omni-channel strategy. What do I want to achieve from each of my channels with which I interact with my customers, right? So that's your first base. If you don't define your omni-channel strategy that includes the metaverse, that includes NFTs, that includes the blockchain, if you don't do that from the beginning, then you are going to end up launching something that doesn't make sense for your business in the long term. Maybe successful in the short term, but it won't have a business meaning in the long term because it's not aligned to your strategy and what you are trying to say to the world through your business. The second one is to define your purpose. So your purpose as a company has to be reflected in each of the touch points and each of the elements with which you do business with your customers. So you need to define what is your metaverse purpose. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to do with the metaverse? Okay, what I'm trying to do is to create a new channel because I want to create a better engagement, an immersive engagement for them to know what my services are in the first place. And I want to use it as a base it's the first step of our interaction, or I want to use it as a side way for the new generation to interact with me. It has to have a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, it will fail in the long term. Then define what is your customer purpose and strategy, which is something that user experience professionals have been doing for years and years and years, which is what is your brand connection with the community? How do I want my users to interact with me? And what feelings do I want my users to experience when they are interacting with my different platforms, including the metaverse, including NFTs, etc. And the last one, experiment. You will never know if it's successful if you don't test it. So experiment, and I always recommend use a small experiment, use a pilot, launch it to the market and see how it works. But before you launch it, you have to test it. And it's critical to put the human experience and the user experience at the center. Otherwise, it will not be successful. So I hope you have found this useful. And this is my LinkedIn. If you scan this code, you will go to my LinkedIn in case you want to be in touch. And this is a time to ask questions if you have any questions. And thank you very much for your time. Do we have any questions?
Thank you so much, Renata, for this session. I think we have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
If you can view it from the chat.
Okay.
From Savita.
Yeah, if any change is detected in a blockchain, then how the mixing of foreign virtual currencies is. Yeah, so this is one of the challenges that are still to be resolved in the blockchain, especially for cryptocurrencies. And actually, there are many entities that are now going into the blockchain to act as regulators of the blockchain, as I mentioned before. So it is very, very difficult at the moment to regulate what's happening with cryptocurrency. However, all the movement of anti-money laundering and controls of anti-terrorism, etc., are going into the blockchain and into the cryptocurrency to start putting some order and actually tracking what is happening with that virtual cryptocurrency. I hope that helps.
So do we have any other questions?
I hope you all enjoyed it. It was only 1 hour. We normally do this in 1 or 2 day trainings, and we do it much more immersive. We do games, it's different. So I hope it has been interesting for you, and it has given you information for you to understand this world that at the moment is just so new for everyone.
Thanks a lot. Thanks very much, Renata. So as you mentioned, like we were aiming through this TikTok to give a holistic view of the potential of Metaverse and how it is reshaping the user experience. Thanks everyone for joining us today. You'll receive a survey where you can provide us with your feedback and also mention the topics that you would like us to focus on our next TechTalk sessions. And feel free to reach out to us anytime for any feedback or just to learn more about our programs and the Metaverse and other related programs. There is one question actually, Renata, just now.
Yeah, HSBC. I would say that HSBC is the most advanced banking case so far in terms of the Metaverse. And I think we have to closely follow what they are going to do, because they're being bold with this innovation, and they are transforming the way we do banking. So I think the one to look for is HSBC. Follow them closely. It's a very interesting case. There's also another case, which is JP Morgan. They are also doing a lot of work into the Metaverse. So it's also a good case study to follow.
I guess that's it for the questions. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll keep you posted of our in-depth training and workshops relevant to this topic, and hope to meet you all in our upcoming Tech Talk sessions. Thanks, Renata. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.